The abandoned cabin. The wind howled through the trees, and the moon cast an eerie glow over the dense forest. You'd been hiking for hours, hoping to find a spot to set up camp. But the deeper you went, the more uneasy you felt. Every rustle in the leaves, every shadow, seemed to whisper your name. Eventually, you stumbled upon a small, weathered cabin, hidden between two towering trees. It looked abandoned, windows boarded up, the door slightly ajar. But it was better than spending the night in the woods, so you decided to investigate. The moment you stepped inside, the musty smell of decay filled your nostrils. The cabin was old, its furniture rotting, its walls covered in dust and cobwebs. You noticed strange faded paintings on the walls, mostly landscapes. But their eyes, something about them made you feel uncomfortable. You brushed it off as nothing. You were tired and decided to spend the night. You went to explore further and noticed a door at the back of the room, partially hidden by a heavy curtain. Without thinking, you walked toward it. A voice, faint and barely audible, echoed through the room. Come inside." Your heart skipped a beat, but you convinced yourself it was just the wind. You opened the door, revealing a staircase that led down into a dark, damp basement. Your flashlight flickered as you stepped down, the cold air making you shiver. The moment you reached the bottom, you felt it, a presence in the room. It was as though something had been waiting there for years. In the far corner, you saw an old wooden chest. The lid was slightly open, but the darkness inside made your stomach twist. Something about it felt wrong. You couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching you from within. You reached for the chest, and as you did, the air grew colder. A whisper echoed in your ear. "Don't look away." You froze, your mind screaming at you to leave. But you couldn't pull your eyes away from the chest. Slowly, the outline of a face began to form in the darkness, pale, gaunt, and with hollow eyes that stared directly at you. It didn't speak, but you could hear its voice in your head. "Don't look away." Your pulse quickened, and suddenly, you heard a door slam shut. You spun around, the basement door, locked. You pulled at the handle, but it wouldn't budge. Panic set in. You tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't move. Something, or someone, was blocking it. You turned back to the chest, but the face was gone. Now, the chest was closed. You felt a chill run down your spine. The sense of being watched intensified. You rushed upstairs, but as you reached the door, it slammed shut with a violent force. You pulled and tugged at the handle, but it wouldn't open. The cabin seemed to close in around you, and then you heard it. The sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate steps coming from above. You backed away, eyes darting around the room, but then you saw it. A shadow moving in the corner of your vision. It was tall, thin, and unnaturally lanky, with arms that seemed to stretch beyond what was normal. Its face was hidden in the darkness, but you felt its gaze burning into you. "Who are you?" you whispered, but the figure didn't respond. It simply took a step closer, its movements jerky and unnatural. Your heart raced as you backed away, but there was nowhere to go. The basement door creaked open again. A wave of panic washed over you. You tried to run, but your legs felt frozen. The figure took another step forward, and you could feel the coldness of its presence as it reached for you. The air was thick with dread. You couldn't breathe. And then you understood. It wasn't just watching you. It was hunting you. With a scream, you turned and bolted for the door. You shoved it open, the cold night air hitting you like a slap. You ran as fast as you could, never looking back, never slowing down. The footsteps, the figure, the whispers, All of it faded behind you. When you reached your car, you turned, glancing back at the cabin. For a moment, it looked like any other abandoned building in the woods. But as your eyes scanned the dark windows, you saw it. Just for a second. The figure, standing at the window, staring at you, waiting for you to return. You didn't stay to find out what happened next. You got in your car, locked the doors, and drove away, heart still pounding in your chest. But you couldn't shake the feeling that someone was still watching you, waiting for the day you would come back to the cabin. Outro. Would you have stayed the night in that cabin? What do you think happened to the person before you? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to watch the next terrifying story. You won't believe what's lurking in the dark.